Pretty excited to do this Bitcoin and crypto video because Bitcoin and crypto has consolidated obviously over the course of the last couple of weeks. And if we want to enjoy a continued bull market, this is exactly the thing that we want to see. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump in a video and talk about where price is. I'm first going to start with Bitcoin price on the short term, talk about the current move of consolidation. And then I want to talk about crypto and the general altcoin markets and why I think, and I've been saying this for a while, this altcoin season that has barely even just begun, why it will be one of the most powerful that we've seen. I'm going to show you exactly why. So let's just do it. Let's start with Bitcoin on the daily. Ever since Bitcoin was getting just really, really overheated on the daily chart, you can just see it here. We were talking about something in comparison to previous cycles, and that is when Bitcoin cools down in a bull environment, we look at the 20-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, that general range for Bitcoin to cool down in that range. And you can very simply, you go to, and what I'm talking about is you go to the last cycle, and we can look at the last bull cycle, Bitcoin cooling down in that range, right? So it's overextended and it cools down. There's the 20, here's the 50, here's the 50 up here, there's the 20. It's just these retracements, these consolidations that need to happen if you want to go higher. This is why I'm very optimistic and I have more of a positive attitude that crypto has decided to chill out for a second. Now, over the years, I've talked a lot about the overextension from the moving averages, especially in bull environments, but even bear environments when it starts falling below and getting overextended. But I've been using this cycle around, this Lux Algo indicator to reversal zone that it's growing on me. It's been growing on me because it just gives such a really nice visualization to that story of tracking overextension from the moving averages, right? So here's the 20, there's overextension, and you see it just kind of getting to the top of that reversal zone. And when it starts doing that, we start getting a visualization aid in that move, but then we start pairing up other indicators like the RSI, what's happening from a momentum perspective. As Bitcoin is getting overheated, what's happening from a momentum perspective? And then we start getting signs of, hey, it might be time for consolidation. And this is exactly what has happened. So here we are right now, we're getting the cooling off for Bitcoin. And what I wanted to show you is, because my question is, what can we anticipate in terms of the cooling off? Two things. Number one, we actually have structure on this daily chart right now, so which is awesome to see because all the way from February, Bitcoin not putting in much structure. It's just been up, right? In the 40s to 70. Now we're having some structure you see playing out here. And as it is of no surprise, it is kind of setting up to be this symmetrical triangle. And what's so cool about it is target to the upside, $85,000. If we zoom out on the Bitcoin chart, that is a target that we have from this rising wedge that you see here on the screen that Bitcoin broke out of right here in February. So target out of the shorter term symmetrical triangle that's setting up $85,000. That's an environment where Bitcoin actually continues to the upside and we don't get, a prolonged dip right now going into the Bitcoin halving. That is certainly not a guarantee though. If we look at Bitcoin and we look at the target to downside, look at what Bitcoin's doing. It's kind of falling right back into the bull market doors, which is this macro indicator for Bitcoin's bull markets. That's this range right here. It's falling back into the apex of that rising wedge with the $85,000 target. And that is very much in play right now. So if we're trying to analyze, well, what would be normal, let's look at that. And that's what I want to do. And then I want to look at the altcoin markets and talk about everything that I think is getting ready to happen as we get ready for this Bitcoin halving. So what I did was, for the very short term, I just want to look at the general move of Bitcoin, right? This consolidation that's taking place right now. Because from bear market lows, this is essentially what Bitcoin has been doing. It's been making a move to the upside and consolidating, move to the upside, consolidating. Just higher highs and higher lows. That's been the story. So I have these arrows, which really just show Bitcoin, you can see, getting into overextension area, right? And you use the Lux Algo indicator, reversal zone, and just pulling in, right? But what I wanted to make note of was through this series of higher highs and higher lows, you can see there has been times and moments where it went from overbought, kind of overextended, and it hit the green reversal zone area, just above that green reversal zone area. And you can notice that was actually a key high or low of this rising wedge pattern setup, right? And it's not the only time that has happened. If you go back, you look at this move back here, Bitcoin making a really nice move, getting bullish, and then boom, right back down to the other side of the reversal zone and starting to form that structure there, right? You can look right here, other side of the reversal zone, and then all the way back here, this first big dip out of the bear market low. So we're exiting bear market, hitting over, overextension, boom, right back to the reversal zone. So the reason I'm putting that out is because if we look now and we look at where this other side of the reversal zone is, and this is just a kind of a really big dip type of scenario where Bitcoin and crypto is going to continue to consolidate into the halving. I want to be prepared for it. You can see this reversal zone potentially over the coming days could draw its way up as Bitcoin maybe does start falling into the apex of that rising wedge, and it'll hit that green area of the reversal zone. This could be this area that if Bitcoin does dip, that could be an area where we say, you know what, when it hits that area, things are very likely to start seeing support in a probably a high fear environment, but that's something to anticipate. On the short term, though, what we can do is we can just say, you know what, let's track this range, the 50-day moving average right now at the lower end of this symmetrical triangle. A lot of confluence there around $63,000. That is right there. We have the 20-day moving average, a short-term area for the bulls to just really break through. That is just above where Bitcoin is right now, around 67,700. Can Bitcoin start closing a daily candle, multiple daily candles above? And then just above that area is the upper trend line of this triangle, right around 70,000, just above $70,000. There could be consolidation in this area for the coming days, right? There might not be a break to the downside or to the upside either way, but this is the general short-term area I will be tracking. I just want to make a note. Break to the upside. That's what it looks like. $85,000 continuation. It's cooled down enough for that move to be very possible. But again, a normal move for Bitcoin could be consolidation to even the bull market doors, to the apex of that rising wedge that we looked at. And I just want to show you something. If I go to last cycle, we have these moves all over the place, right? Here's last cycle, Bitcoin revisiting the bull market doors, big dip for Bitcoin. You go to the cycle before that, probably even more similar to this cycle so far. Look at Bitcoin hitting the reversal zone and then dipping. There it is. There's the exact move that we're potentially anticipating that's in play, right to the other side of the reversal zone and also breaking back into the bull market doors for support. And then continuation to the upside. This could be a scenario. I'll say this, and then we'll move over to the altcoin markets. This is something I've been mentioning. No matter what happens next, Bitcoin right now is spoiling everybody. We are at all-time highs before Bitcoin halving. This is not something that has happened before. Here's Bitcoin at around this stage last cycle before Bitcoin halving, right? Bitcoin all-time highs didn't happen until months after the Bitcoin halving. Here is Bitcoin in the cycle before that, right? All-time highs months after Bitcoin halving. And then the cycle before that, look at this. It took until after the Bitcoin halving, that line right there, for Bitcoin to break all-time highs. We are so spoiled this cycle around. I just want to say that. I should have led with that, but that is what it is. I want to talk about altcoin markets a little bit. And I'm not going to look at altcoin charts specifically. I actually just want to look at the Bitcoin dominance chart and break down a couple different things that are happening here, because there's certain things and dynamics that are playing out right now that are, I think, telling in terms of Bitcoin dominance. And when we talk about Bitcoin dominance, really what we're talking about is altcoin dominance, right? Meaning when we talk about Bitcoin dominance potentially falling, that would be because altcoin dominance is rising. So I want to draw your attention first to this all-time high piece of it, the data point. Meaning Bitcoin's at all-time high, just happened most recently. That's where we are. And if we go look at Bitcoin dominance chart, I basically went back to previous cycles. I said, okay, at this time last cycle, right, Bitcoin's breaking the bull market doors. We're entering this a really nice area of all-time highs for Bitcoin. Where was Bitcoin on the dominance chart? So here's Bitcoin as it's approaching all-time highs, right? December 2020 area, you can see Bitcoin dominance making a really nice move all into that entire move. And then here's Bitcoin, the cycle before that, when it was breaking all-time highs in 2017. You can actually see Bitcoin dominance starting to fall. So we have two cycles where Bitcoin dominance did kind of opposite things while it was heading into all-time high. And what I find so interesting about this cycle is Bitcoin's kind of not doing either one. Bitcoin's just been very sideways as it's going into all-time high this cycle around. So then I said, okay, that's not very helpful. It gives us a sense of, you know what, all-time highs, as Bitcoin's breaking all-time highs, we could see Bitcoin dominance rise, fall, or as it's doing right now, kind of just sideways. So then I said, okay, let me look at Bitcoin halving data, because now we have these two things happening kind of simultaneously. Bitcoin just hit all-time highs, and we have halving happening very soon, just weeks away. So here we are heading into Bitcoin halving. Let's look at what Bitcoin did in previous halvings. Well, Bitcoin dominance last halving actually started to fall. You can see in 2020 going into Bitcoin halving. And then you can even go back all the way to 2016. Bitcoin dominance actually fell right into Bitcoin halving. And then it actually was just very sideways before falling more. So there was never a scenario in these last couple of halvings against altcoins where Bitcoin saw the halving happen and then actually just it saw a power move to the upside, right? Obviously, last cycle, after months, Bitcoin had a power move as it was making its all-time high. But going into the Bitcoin halving and even shortly after, Bitcoin never really had a power move. So on the short term and the midterm, that is an interesting thing for Bitcoin dominance right now. The fact that right now it's been very sideways in relation to all-time high happening and going into halving. If this data repeats, Bitcoin dominance could actually start falling very soon. I've been anticipating a more strong higher low, lower high for Bitcoin. That is this last cycle swing high to the cycle swing low. I've been anticipating this general higher low range for Bitcoin, a power move to the upside. I'm very surprised it just hasn't happened yet, right? Even with this dip that we've been in most recently, you can just see Bitcoin dominance hasn't made a power move to the upside. That has been a really big surprise to me that Bitcoin hasn't put in that higher low. Maybe it still will. All this to say, it's not even post Bitcoin halving, and Bitcoin dominance hasn't done anything too powerful, right? And in cycles past, this is what altcoin season looks like after the Bitcoin halving. After the Bitcoin halving, the fact that Bitcoin hasn't been too powerful, and there are so many solid altcoin narratives this cycle around compared to last cycles. I think the signs are there, the clues are there that the coming altcoin season, and many people think it's started. I don't think it's started yet. The coming altcoin season could truly bring Bitcoin dominance down in a very strong manner. So this is just some data I wanted to share on the Bitcoin dominance chart. I think things are really coming together as we go into Bitcoin halving. I'm going to be very curious to see what happens with Bitcoin dominance. Anything could happen, right? This could be a new cycle, the first time where Bitcoin dominance at halving actually starts going up for whatever reason. But the signs are certainly there. The clues are there that it could very well be an insane altcoin season, because this altcoin season, as it begins, if it's about to begin, Bitcoin is not at 73% Bitcoin dominance or 96% Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin right now is at 53% Bitcoin dominance. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin dominance altcoin season. We'll continue to track all of these things, everybody. Please hit the subscribe, hit the like. I appreciate each and every one of you for just watching this channel and just kind of having fun, hanging out on the crypto journey with me. I truly, truly do that. I mean that. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.